Okay, so now I'm working on the amplifier. I haven't tested the power supply yet. I'll be doing that next. But I thought while I've got the amplifier out, I might as well change this transistor. This is on the original one here, which measured as a diode network. Now I've replaced that transistor. The spare parts I've purchased, exactly the same part number, and actually showed up as being a transistor. So I believe this part must be 40, which is what my suspicion is anyway. Okay, this is a 2N6214 PNP transistor. So that's the original one, which I believe is blind, and I've replaced that. That is where it sits. It's just there like that. Okay. Interestingly, there's no heatsink compound in these. I don't know whether that matters or not. Normally you expect to see heatsink compound, but there's nothing on any of these, which is a bit odd. Especially when you've got all this heat sinking. So I'm not sure that's right. I might put some on anyway. But maybe because of the voltages involved, maybe it's why about arcing. I don't know. Maybe it's a reason for that. So that's that change. I took the cover off here because I just want to double check on here just to see if there was something I'd left half done, but it looks okay. These are these 1N4448 diodes, these ones here, which I purchased some of anyway in case they're faulty, in case they're leaking or something. They've tested okay, but you never quite know. So if it still doesn't resolve any problems or have other issues going on in this area, then I'll probably just replace those diodes. They're very similar to the 1N4148. It's just got a slightly higher current rating. According to the data sheets I've seen, at least, there isn't a different data sheet which says something else about a voltage difference rather than a current difference. So I'm not sure which one you want to believe. So I'm just going to drop this in place, but I'm not going to hook it up, just to stop it flopping around everywhere. And I'll move this out of the way. Just take it out of the way like that so it's not touching anything. And then I shall plug this thing in, and first things first, to see if the power supply seems to be working properly again. Then if it is, then I'll plug this card in and see if it's changed anything else. Right, I've got player plugged in. I haven't tried turning it on yet. I'll just get everything, make sure it's all ready to go. Yeah, because there will sense to be right because I'm using that. Right. Fingers crossed there's no smoke and stuff, hopefully. There's a bit of hair. Cat's been around. I just want to see if the operator light comes on. If the operator light comes on, then the power supply is back to where it was before. And then I can do other testing. Takes 30 seconds for it to warm up and actually get to that stage. Gives me a chance to look for any smoke. Or anything else going wrong. That fan I replaced with is definitely quieter than the original. Okay, standby lights on. Operator lights on. Great, power supply's back up again. Cool, so that should be good. So what we'll look at now is plugging this power amplifier card in and hooking up to the front and see if it actually operates or not, because I'm suspecting that transistor is the only fault that's left with it. I don't know. There's probably other stuff which I haven't found yet, but I need to get this card working before I can go any further anyway. Alright, so it's a minute to discharge. It should be right by now. And plug that in. Plug this in. Get my meter set up for DC. I think I'll check DC currents first, or DC voltages on the output, because if it's playing up, it shows the DC output. Let's get those on there. And put on DC on the meter. Right. So, fingers crossed this will actually work. Again, we've got to wait 30 seconds. Set to 1 volt at I should set it at 1 volt, shouldn't I? 1 volt at 100 kilohertz. So that's what I should get on AC if it's working when it's okay. First I'm checking for DC bias though, because that's an indicator that the thing isn't working. Turn it on. There is no DC bias on any range, so that's looking good. AC volts, I'm on 1 volt range again, and I'm getting 0.8 volts. Now there is an issue actually, that's right, there was an issue with the cards over here, the input from the reference into this card here, which is the AC to DC converter. So there is something there which isn't right. You can't really see what I'm doing unfortunately, but shut off again. Right, so we are on, stick on 500, well 5 volts, and I'm getting 5 volts AC out. I can smell something getting warm. I can smell something warming up. Gotta be careful what I touch because there's high voltages around. I can smell something, so not burning, like dust, you know, burning dust. But I was getting 5 volts AC then, which is, you know, a good sign because I've got a set of 5 volts and 10 volt range. Right, that's looking good. I might rearrange my camera and change the angle so you can see what I'm doing, because you know it seems more appropriate now. Okay, have that's a better angle for you. You can see a little bit better. Tip this around slightly more too, maybe. Do that. Okay. Hopefully. Right, let's turn this on. So what's happening, I was saying before, the reference output here, which goes to the AC/DC card, it's not reaching the full voltage as specified in the manual. So what I think it should be doing is about twice as much as it is doing when I probed on that cable there. So I think there is still an issue here. So I think it's actually loading on this op amp. It's at this end. I think that's what the problem is. So anything above like 7 on here on this dial doesn't work properly. So I forgot about that. So 5 is a quite reasonable level. It seems to work about 5. Right. So standby's on. Let's operate. It's on 5. I've got it at 10 volt range. That should be 5 volts AC. There we go. Right, we're getting 5 volts. It's a bit noisy though, so it might be because of this op amp here I'm inspecting. So let's try 100 volt range. So that should be doing 50 volts. And yeah, we're getting around 50 volts. So that's the first time I've ever seen it do that. This is new. So this power amplifier might be working properly now. Okay, so let's go down to 100 millivolt range. I should be doing 50 millivolts. And yep, it's doing 50 millivolts. 10, so I should be doing 5 millivolts. And it is. 1 millivolt range, should be doing half a millivolt. And it is. That's at 100 hertz. So if I go to 1 kilohertz, we'll see if that changes anything here. So 1 kilohertz range, they might stabilise the readings a little bit for a bit of luck. So it's 5 millivolts, 50 millivolts, and it's not. That's right, there's a dodgy switch connection here, isn't there? One of these things. Which one was it? One of these is a bit dodgy. That's right, should be doing half millivolts, sorry. 5. What on there? 100 millivolt range. So I should be doing 50 millivolts. But I'm not, am I? Oh, it's gone off. That's probably why. Okay, right. 50 millivolts. We're doing 56. So I should be doing half a volt there. It is. Should be doing 50 volts. 5 volts, sorry, yes. And 50 volts there. And it is. Let's increase frequency again. So it's now 10 kilohertz. Still reading 50 volts. 100 kilohertz. It's obviously a bit high for the meter. So let's bring this down. Yeah, bring this down to say that. There we go, now I can read it. So that's okay. So it does actually seem to be working now. I'm still getting a smell off it though. Something's still warming up, so I might actually have to check on that with the thermal imager and see if I can see what's going on there. But I'm getting 50 volts out now. So let's go a bit higher. 60, 70, 80, which is where I think it's going to top out at. Oh, 90's there. And 100 volts. Okay, 110. Alright, so maybe that feedback is working okay then. So that's 11 volts. Should be 1.1. It is. Should be 110 millivolts. It's not. Sorry, 1.1 millivolts. Because that switch is dodgy. That's right. Here we go. 110 millivolts. Got to sort the switch out. Now it's 11 millivolts, and now it's 1.1 millivolts. All correct. So it's working. It is working. So we've got this little switch issue here. It's this 100 millivolt range where it doesn't quite go. I'm not quite sure if it's a bench shaft or it's alignment, or whether it's just dirty or what. But if you go that way, it doesn't quite do it. If you go the other way, it does. You know, just like it's not quite throwing over. You go slightly over the center point on that detent, then it comes on. Right, so if it's to the center, that's to the detent. It passes the detent, and it comes on. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. It might be just a slight alignment issue there, but I'll turn it back on again. So it works. So I've got some degree of success. It's actually doing something now. Yay! So this is getting there. It is doing the correct output voltages. So I'm wondering about retesting this point here now to see if there really is an issue there. I've got to be careful what I touch because things can be like 300 volts DC. So I'm trying not to touch anything. I'm just trying to feel the heat. Yeah, I can feel some heat around here and around there. So those transistors there are warming up, or something is around here is warming up. So I don't want to touch it yet until I'm actually sure the power's gone off it, because I don't really want to get a zap. Especially with it being hot and me being a little bit sweaty, so my skin's quite moist, so it's going to be highly conductive. So that's going to promote getting a shock more than normal. So I have to be a little bit more careful. There's definitely some heat here. I can feel a bit here. So, but yeah, it's working. Progress, definite progress. So obviously I need to sort this switch here out. But yes. Alright, let's get the thermal camera going, and we'll see what we can see with this. See if I can see any hot spots in there. I suspect there is, because it does feel a bit warm. Problem is with things being metallic. Oh, no, I don't want to squeeze the trigger by mistake. There's definitely a hot spot there and there somewhere, which is by those transistors there. Okay, I'm going to get you to see that as well. The thing is, the actual alignment of where the thermal image is versus where this physical camera is, it's at a distance, right? So that distance there is about right. It's about 30 centimeters, but as you get closer, it goes out of alignment. Right, so it does actually drift right off. So I have to be careful of that when I'm trying to figure out where bits are. But that's certainly those transistors around there. That's definitely correct. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can. And so those are definitely warming up. The ones further down, yeah, they're warming up a little bit too. So that is 50 degrees, 63 degrees. It's getting 72 as the maximum. Just turn everything on so it's not just sitting there. Again, that could be because of the emissivity, sunlight anyway, because of the infrared reflectance, basically. Something which is metallic, like shiny, like this panel here, for example, you won't be able to get a temperature off it because it's reflecting the stuff around it. Now, what's down there? Something down there is getting warm. Where's that? Is that those capacitors? I can see something warm just down here. No, it's on that board. So it's resistors. It's resistors down there which are getting warm. So you kind of expect that. Is anything else looking too bad? A bit of warmth over there. power supply. Hottest part is the centre of the fan. Let's have a look down here, see what we can see. You won't be able to see this unfortunately, but straps got caught up and stuff. So yeah, it's a little bit warm down there, it's not too bad. A bit there, oh there's some hot bits down there. Oh, it's got heatsink on there, that's why I can see the heatsink. And I need to talk a bit quiet because I'm right by the mic. And okay, so things are looking good. There's nothing particularly hot. There's something there. What is that? I see something down there. Just need to figure out where it is and what it is. There is a regulator down there, I think. I've already replaced the capacitor that's down there. Can't quite see. Can't make out what that is, but there's something hot down there. It's about 40 degrees, so it's not too bad. That's a heatsink, which is about 72 degrees. So, yeah, okay. If I had all the covers on, it'd probably be getting proper airflow through it. It might be actually doing a bit better. But those transistors there are... about 80 odd degrees around there, so it's getting a bit hot there. So it is actually doing, stuff at least. It's probably what I can smell is that heat, the dust burning slightly. So I'm going to go through these ranges again. Let's have a quick look. Now 1.1 volts, 11 volts, 110 volts. Yeah, so let's go 111 volts, 11.1 should be. Obviously it needs calibrating because it's going to be way off right now, but yeah, it is at least working. Right, shut it down before it overheats too much. Yeah, there's a bit of heat coming from there. That's not feeling too warm. There's a little bit of warmth in there, heatsink. So I probably do need to put some thermal compound on these transistors in there to transfer the heat through to this a little bit better. It doesn't seem to be there from the factory, so it may be because of a risk of arcing or something because of voltage involved. But I'm going to put some anyway. I'd rather have a thermal compound going through. If there's an issue with shorting, I'd be surprised, but it may be an issue or not. But I'm going to put some on there, just a very small amount, just to help that heat to get through. But yeah, it's actually working. Obviously I'm going to have to go through a full calibration procedure and actually make sure everything's working correctly and adjust all the frequencies and stuff like that. And it does seem to be some noise in there. It's not a nice rock solid stable signal. So I think there are some other things going on in there, probably from this reference going onto this card here. So that's what I'm suspecting, because I did see that being wrong earlier. When I was looking at it, a month ago, a couple of months ago, and I never resolved that. It didn't look like there's actually much that could go wrong, so I just left that and moved on. So I'm suspicious of this part still. That could be what's causing problems. There's also still a lot of original capacitors in here which I haven't changed. There's a lot of them because there's just so many caps. I've only replaced the ones which I know are definitely faulty. It could even be a bit of ripple on the DC power supply, because I think one of those was a little bit noisy, so I might actually replace those big filter caps on the main DC supply in there, and I've got some big caps in here. I might just replace all those and see if that fixes it. It could just be too much AC coming through in the DC supply. I did see high ripple, so it wouldn't surprise me if that's what's causing the problem there. But yeah, at least it's working now. It's doing something. So that is, I suppose you can say I'm 95% there now. So now I might go back to the power supply there and replace those temporary repairs I did on there with some proper parts. Obviously what I've done works. It just isn't pretty and it's not really brilliant. So I do have a couple of parts which I can put in there to replace those. Mainly the op amp, but the one that's there is working fine. So I don't know. It's here and there really. I suppose if it works, I might change it. But Anyway, I suppose a purist would say put it back to original. I'm a bit lazy. Anyway, so give us a thumbs up if you like this so far, and I do have some other parts of video which I haven't finished editing yet. Well, I was going through individual boards, and I kind of got halfway through each board and stopped because I got stuck. I don't know which boards it was now. It might be the AC/DC and might be the oscillator, one of the oscillator control cords. I think it's the oscillator control card is the other one I was looking at. So yeah, I think I've got half videos done. I might publish them, just slack them together and just give some supplemental test information. I don't know, I'm not sure if I need to do any more work on those yet or not. If I have to do work on those cards, then I'm going to obviously finish those videos, but they're half done. It's just I can't publish them as they are because they're incomplete. You know, it just shows half the testing process. So anyway, alright, so give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and click the bell icon if you're not already receiving notifications about my new videos. And yeah, tell your friends. Catch you later.